Hello, Ruthann.
Hey, Troy.
So we are officially back now. We are in the swing of things here in Homosassa, Florida, where we shoot this podcast from.
Mm-hmm.
And we are back from the show. And I never started the background. I wanted to do that. Let me see. How's that?
Cool.
Nice. So the new, should I say it's the new TalkCDL? We're kind of changing things around. We're starting to do more video work. And everybody's asking us to really start hitting up on the YouTube channel. So we are trying to make some more videos for that channel. And that should start rolling here soon. But anyways, we are... What is today anyways? Today's Saturday. Okay. So here we are. And I've got quite a bit of stuff to talk about. And you got some interesting stuff that you were mentioned to me. I'm kind of excited to talk about it because I've been hearing a lot of rumors about the Chicago companies over the last couple of years. And now we got some articles and some things that we really need to discuss. A lot of drivers have been getting the shaft up that way, and we'll talk about that. I mean, there's some good ones, but I'll be honest with you, it's like anything else. There's a majority of companies are not as good as they perceive to be. And then, let's be honest, when the crap hits the fan,
it splatters good.
I'm just saying, what I mean by the crap hitting the fan right now, the economy took a big crap and it hit the fan. And you hear that old saying, when the crap hits the fan, the sharks eat the sharks. And so, a lot of companies right now have been skimming off the top on drivers. Mm-hmm. I've been hearing a lot of reports, not just Chicago companies, but a lot of them, though, are up there. I've been hearing that. I've got a couple other things I want to talk about, an incident that I was privy to this past week, and I'd like to talk to the drivers about that. How do you like our background now with the video?
I think it's cool.
Isn't that pretty cool? And so I see they left the ladder there. Is that the ladder must be for like that retro, not retro, but what's that word? Just kind of rough look that, I don't even know the word, but anyway, so we got a ladder along with the video going on, and I see the TalkCDL banner in the background. And Tyler's talking about rebranding the TalkCDL logo.
Yeah, I heard.
I know you were kind of bummed out when you heard him say that.
I like my logo. I like it. I mean, we've had it for 7 years, so it kind of... But I know it's not going to happen all at once. They said about doing it gradually or, so that it's not all at one shot and, shocking everybody.
I knew I was missing something. So anyways, listen, on with the show here. We've got quite a bit of stuff to talk about here today. I got to find, what did you have that on? Is this it right here? Oh, cool. Perfecto. All right. So I've got something before we get started I'd like to really talk to drivers about that I've been seeing happen. To be honest with you, it's happened forever. And this is experienced drivers, okay? More than anything, they come to an orientation. Mm-hmm. And I was talking to this company this past week, and I was talking to the director of recruiting. They're a rather large company. And he said, I'm getting ready to kick a driver out of orientation. And he started telling me what's going on. I guess this truck driver showed up for orientation, and he did what we call bringing your old company with you.
Okay.
He's in orientation. He's doing what's called poisoning the class.
Okay.
You understand what I'm talking about?
When you said that, it made me think a little bit outside my box.
Right. Apparently, he didn't like everything when he got to the company. Like, for example, maybe he didn't like the truck speed. You know what I mean? Maybe the truck speed's at 65 or 68. I'm not even sure. But that could be one of the things that he's bitching and moaning about. Mm-hmm. But it just turned into like this bitch and moan session. The director was telling me how this particular driver was, telling everybody, well, that's not the way my old company does it.
Yeah, well, there's a reason he left his old company, right?
Well, and that's exactly right. And that's exactly what they were all getting at. It's like, well, this is your new company now. And they were, he was just, like I said, telling everybody how his new company in orientation is doing things wrong. And everybody else was, having a good time until this guy started rolling along. And on his second day in the orientation, they had to tap him on the shoulder to take him out of class. In fact, the director told me, this company has a little under 1,000 trucks. He said they had to sit this guy down before he took about 7 or 8 drivers with him out of the orientation. You know what I mean? Because he was almost creating a mutiny. And, and I've seen that before where drivers do that. They'll start whining about their old company, or they'll start, talking about, maybe, for example, when you talk to a recruiter on the phone, right? And you get the pay, you get the home time. But then when you get to an orientation, you get a lot of the things that the recruiter really probably doesn't tell you. Not that most drivers are even going to ask it, but like, for example, the fuel cards, who they use for fuel cards. You might like EFS, and you get to an orientation and all they do is comp data. Oh, in fact, I seen a company last year. The guy was telling me he had a guy in his orientation that was bitching and moaning because they don't use Loves. And he has all these points with Loves. Right, but the guy never thought to ask this before he got on a plane and showed up to this company. Mm-hmm. And so he was just bitching and moaning and complaining about, not being able to use a Love's truck stop with their fuel network. So, you get to an orientation and you find out that there's something about the job that you weren't told, which you didn't ask. Mm-hmm. Okay, because what do most drivers are concerned about?
Pay, home car, not cars.
Yeah, they're concerned about the cars.
Well, I was trying to say, I was trying to get to something else, and I don't know. I was gonna say like the cards, like the fuel cards, the mm-hmm. pre-passes, that kind of stuff, but it came out cars. but
my whole point though is, on the phone they're not concerned about fuel cards.
Exactly.
I mean, there are some though that will ask that. I've talked to drivers in the past. That is one of their concerns. But most drivers are concerned about money, about home time, about the equipment they're going to be operating. Mm-hmm. And that's the 3 main things, obviously. And then, you got a rider program, pet policy. They want to know about that. And I'll tell you, the very least asked questions by drivers when they're talking to a recruiter is about the benefits, about the health benefits. I mean, there are some that are concerned about it, but there's a lot of young truckers out there, they think they're bulletproof. They don't need health insurance. So none of them are really that concerned. So these are things that you find out later when you get to orientation. Oh, I didn't know the deductible was so bad. I didn't know the fuel card you're using. I didn't.
Usually the drivers that have like families that, like maybe the wife's pregnant or they have young children, they will ask those questions. And that's good because that's something that you should know if no matter your age, some of the older drivers will ask that too, that maybe their kids are older and they don't need the family plan, but they do still want to know it. But it is something that drivers should ask prior to it because it is a factor when it comes to it. Some don't have to worry about because their wife has better insurance or something to that effect, so they don't worry about the insurance.
Yeah, so, and in fact, I forget what it was that this driver was bitching about. I'm trying to remember what he was telling me, this director. But what's funny is he said this guy's all over this one thing that, it's a very rare question. And he's like, they had to take him aside and say to him, listen, Joe Trucker, you would think this one thing that is the biggest concern of yours, you should have asked it 2 minutes in talking to your recruiter, and here you are now bitching about, the color of the bathroom or whether the truck has FM stereo in it or just, I forget, it was really something minute. And anyway, so what it did was some people, let's be honest, some people, if they get upset over one little thing, it kind of escalates. You know what I mean? And then you start looking for more problems and more problems and more problems. So my advice would be to people, a couple of pieces of advice. I would say, make sure when you're talking to your potential new trucking company, make sure of the things that really annoy you about the job, right, Ruthann?
Right. You should have little notes.
Yeah, exactly. Especially, here's a good one. The reason you're quitting your current or your last company, you should already know the notes on that. It's changing colors.
It's just like, boop, there it went.
It's a ghost. But anyways, so, right, like Ruthann said, have little notes. And when you're talking to your recruiter, ask them these questions, because maybe you get to orientation and you go, oh, I forgot to ask. Sir, I forgot to ask that question. What kind of trucks are they again? I don't drive Volvos, sir. Sir, can you send me home? Sir, But anyways, and that's what happens. So write these questions down. And then here's the other thing that I would give advice. If you're a driver in an orientation and maybe you befriended the guy with the big mouth,
yeah, it's true.
distance yourself from that guy, because the last thing you want is the guy that's causing trouble. The last thing you want is the orientation instructor to go and talk to the director and the operations manager and say, yeah, it's those two guys over there. And really all you did was had a cup of coffee with the guy. Stay away from the guy with the big mouth in orientation, because there's a good chance he's getting the tap on the shoulder, Ruthann, and he's getting his ass kicked out of there. What's wrong?
I was just tapping the shoulder.
Oh, I thought you were tapping your mic like something wrong. Exactly. It's like, excuse me, could we have a word with you? And even this director told me, and I said to him, are you in a can his butt? And he goes, no, we're going to give him a chance. He said, we're not going to kick him out. But here's what they told him. They sat this guy down, and he said, here's what I said to the guy. If I hear your name one more time in a negative way before you get into a truck and start delivering loads, you're gone. You're not even, there ain't even going to be another talking to. So the advice is, if you've got any kind of hang-ups or a problem with authority, or maybe you like to, maybe you're ornery, keep it down in orientation. Right now, companies are canning people because of the lack of freight. They're not desperate. I'm just giving you guys some advice, man. My trucker brothers, and I'm seeing a lot of these guys. I'm seeing truckers getting treated crappy right now by companies, Ruthann, because there's a lot of companies that are not hiring, and therefore when the driver calls over there, they're they're acting cold towards them, and maybe because of when certain drivers may have been cold to them. I'm trying to get it to not change colors. But so that's the advice, guys. Come professionally. This thing's annoying me.
I think its trip to Matt's might have been its last go around.
Yeah,
I have to order us some new ones. But I'll say something about that then once you get done doing your.
Yeah, I'm just saying that, again, if you're kind of hanging around with the guy that's in, causing trouble, you might want to get away from that guy so they don't tap you on the shoulder also and kick your butt out of there. It's not worth it, guys. It is what it is. So the best advice is make sure of the company before you go. And we're going to be talking about certain companies here in just a little bit. Ruthann's got an article. So that's all I wanted to say. It was kind of
and usually,
bugging me.
One thing that you usually always say is the person that's the largest or loudest in the room is usually the weakest.
That's a good saying.
And if this driver is being very loud and trying to get everybody's attention, there's an issue that he's having within himself. So you might not want to be included in that also and take everything that he's saying to heart, because he might be just needing that attention, no matter if it's good or bad.
Yeah, guys, we're all truckers. Even the guys that got attitudes, you guys can curb that. Just you know what to do. Come on in.
You're a professional. I like one.
The best. To be honest with you, the orientation goes quicker if everybody shuts their mouth. Okay, unless you have a legitimate question, they're going to usually answer all your questions through the orientation. That's another thing, guys. They start trouble with trying to ask too many questions when the orientation instructor has a curriculum and he's going to get to mostly almost all your questions anyways. Payroll's going to answer questions. Safety's going to answer questions. And so I would just go to an orientation and just chill out, take notes, do what you got to do what you're told to do. And then on the last day, if your question wasn't answered, ask a few questions and then just move on. But guys, come with a good attitude, come with a positive attitude, because it's your new job. And why cause trouble? I mean, if you pick fights and cause trouble, then you're already off to a bad start and you're already going to hate the job.
That's true. Don't close yourself off that way, and don't create an issue for yourself, because the minute you're classified as that guy, you don't want to be classified as that guy.
Yeah, you guys agreed to go to the company. You were happy. I mean, and unless it was like your second choice and you didn't get the first choice.
Yeah.
But either way, you should still come happy. Come with a happy face. Ruth Ann, time to move on.
Moving on.
We're going to take a break. Drivers, if you're looking for a local, home, everyday driving job, apply with Carter Lumber today. They have positions for Class A and Class B local drivers. They can take experienced drivers, students, and non-CDL drivers. With over 160 locations, chances are they have a position for you. So go to carterlumber.com/TalkCDL and apply today. Again, that's carterlumber.com/TalkCDL. Thank you. Truck Parking Club is a network of instantly reservable daily and monthly truck parking locations throughout the U.S. Truck Parking Club helps connect truckers to truck parking locations throughout the U.S. via truckparkingclub.com. Our networks is made up of property owners that have locations adequate for truck parking to list on the platform. This includes trucking companies, storage companies, CDL schools, trailer leasing companies, real estate investors, truck parking operators, and more. Go to truckparkingclub.com today. All right, we are back. And before we roll on here, you had just mentioned this light here. Go ahead. You were going to say something about the light, the trucking light.
Yeah, ours is old. We've had it for a very long time,
but it still works.
It still works fine. Well, it's whatever reason, it's got an attitude today. But we are in the works of getting new ones made with TalkCDL on it, and getting different designs of tractors. We're going to try and see if we can get.
Well, you can. I already checked into it.
I know. But,
Yeah, you can get Kenworth, Peterbilt,
so
you can
we're
get
looking at
cab-overs.
doing that and having the names put in it, TalkCDL on it, or possibly even like a name.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys want to order a light, just get a hold of us. Or go to our Shopify, which will be set up here soon. And you can order one of these. And for the guys and gals that are not seeing us on video, okay, a lot of people are just listening, going down the road on the podcast. We have these desk lights that are tractor trailers, and you can have your name inscribed on them, and you can order whatever you want to for your house. Pretty cool, actually. In fact, we had it at the truck show.
We've had it at the last couple ones, and
everybody,
it's the first thing the kids look at.
Well, not just the kids. How about the 60-year-old kids? The truckers, they come flying up to us about the light, and they're like, that is cool, man. So anyways, if you need a light, get a hold of us, and we'll hook you up. Ruth Ann, so let's talk about the Chicago companies. I mean, I'm really interested in that. You have a little bit of an article. You're going to kind of read a little bit and give us a little rundown, and then I want to kind of give you the things that I've been hearing over the years up there. And, it is what it is. I mean, we're not picking on people, but, most of the Chicago's companies are foreign owned. Okay. And like I said in the beginning, there are some good ones, but there are a lot of very bad ones also.
Right. You have your good and your bad with everything, of course. But this is I got it from Overdrive Online. And Alex was writing about an incident that happened to this father and son team. And I'm not going to read the whole thing because it is a long article, but I'm going to give some key points and then y'all can go over to it and read it if you'd like. But this driver, he's 68. His son rides with him to do the non-driving stuff. So he helps with everything else. And what's happened is this driver was, it just totally switched my whole article. There it is. This driver was having an issue with this company out of Chicago. The company itself is called Cromex, Cromex. And when he first started working for him, he had about 30 trucks. And then it moved down to 15. And then this driver, he was stuck at the hotel because his truck disappeared. And when his truck disappeared, they didn't have any freight or anything like that. And the guy owed him like $3,000. And he's texting him and he's going back and forth with him how, hey, you owe me the money. The guy's going on and saying, I don't have it. And it's like, he says, go start looking for another job. And the son is the one that's texting back and forth. He goes, guy, this is like Easter weekend. How am I going to go? And, what are you expecting from us? Guy got extremely rude and basically said, you're not getting paid. So what they're finding out is that there's so many of these companies that are in Chicago area that are actually conducting their business off of the eastern coast of Europe. So when you try to call the phone numbers to reach them, half of them aren't even getting, a hold of them because they're from Eastern Europe or they're off and they are in Chicago, but they're having a hard time getting a hold of them. But anyways, the son, because he was having such a hard time, he went and he just started twittering how things have been and how horrible this is, that they're going to end up being homeless because they don't have the money to pay the hotel anymore. And this company called Truckers Emergency Assistance Responders. It's a nonprofit group that serves a lifeline to drivers suffering from carrier abandonment, accidents, medical episodes, and wage theft, which is kind of what's happening right now with them.
Give that name of that company again that helps.
Truckers Emergency Assistance Responders. It's broken down to being basically called tiers.
Oh, nice. And is it TEARS? Tiers?
Yep, TEAR. And it's Truckers Emergency Assistance Responders. It's ran by the Desiree Wood from Real Women in Trucking, the president there. She's the head of it. And she said that this story bears all the hallmarks of a ring of serial offenders in the Chicago area who seem to prey on vulnerable drivers. She said that after this incident, she ended up getting 2 more or 3 more incidences just in like that week. Because what they're doing is they're offering only 1099. They're not giving the drivers any other choice of income. Strictly 1099. They're harsh with them. They run really bad equipment, and when the drivers get on there, they're not being at all cooperative with them. And they said that a lot of these companies dump them and they don't pay them for their last check and sometimes have not paid them for weeks. They either hire another driver to start a new business with a clean slate, and that they're urging drivers to report these companies to the FMCSA because they do set up another authority rather quickly and they do it all over again. So what they're doing is and that's why they said the serial companies, because what they're doing is they'll go and they'll get these trucks, to get these drivers, they'll trash everything on it, owe them this ton of money, and then start all over again because they said it just basically costs only like $300 to get your authority, and then you could just start it right over again. And then some of them even have brokers working with them.
I know there's several companies out there that have had numerous DOT numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard, I've talked to drivers over the years, since the big boom. And really the boom really got crazy. Let's be honest, when did more of these foreign companies come from was when right before the pandemic, and then during the pandemic, it just grew because of the rates and the money you could make in the United States. So a couple things that I've noticed is, like you said, a lot of them, and that drivers have told me is, I don't even know what DOT number I'm under. I've had drivers tell me, man, I couldn't tell you. I started this job, and then they called me and they said, I got to change the authority number on the truck, and I got to get the new permits. And, like you said, they're operating under a shady umbrella. Mm-hmm. And I've got an American company today to talk about like that too. But the Chicago company is notorious for European trucking company owners. Mm-hmm. Well, here's the thing. The drivers that I've talked to over the last couple of years, they're like, I'm not even sure what country my dispatcher's in. Like their dispatcher sends them loads from, somewhere else because he's there just trying to pick loads off the DAT or truckstop.com or whatever he's using. And then he just basically filters the drivers these loads. Mm-hmm. And that's the way these guys have been dispatched. So, with that being said, there's just thousands and thousands of truck driver stories coming out of the Chicago area of, like you just said, they got screwed. I'll tell you, there's a giant company up there, and everybody knows the company I'm probably talking about. They have van and flatbed right now. They grew to like 2,000 trucks, and they are having such problems right now. I was told the other day that when a driver goes to quit, they're just telling the driver, we won't charge you for the lease. These companies real notorious for lease purchase, and they're a foreign-run company. Just keep the truck and keep running. We won't charge you for lease purchase. We'll just pay you, because they're losing drivers that much. I'm just saying, the company itself is in a lot of trouble because of the rates going down, and literally, it's getting bad out there. Mm-hmm. And when we said earlier, when the crap hits the fan, the sharks start eating the sharks. And so, and let's be honest about one thing. When it was good, a lot of American truck drivers were working for a lot of foreign companies because they were getting paid a lot of money. Okay, let's call it like it is. Mm-hmm. All right, now I'm not going to mix words there. So, to be honest with you, if I was back on the road during COVID times at the rates they were paying, I would have worked for some of those foreign companies. I knew some good ones, okay? But again, there's a lot of, the ones that have I'll tell you the worst ones were like exactly what you said. The ones that went out and bought crappy trucks, okay? The ones that bought the nasty trucks and expected some driver to get in there and make a lot of money, but he had to live like like a poor man on the road in the truck because mm-hmm. they were horrible trucks.
Right. That's what this driver said. He said it was just a rundown KW and it just disappeared. Yeah. And the family said that out of all their trucks that the bank took the last one. So as of March, this company still showed that they had 15 trucks with 16 drivers, but they really didn't. But here's what they did say. Desiree says that she spoke with the FMCSA about the revolving door issue for carriers, and they told her that impacted drivers should file complaints with the National Consumer Complaint Database. The Department of Transportation Office and the Inspector General, too, has shown willingness to prosecute certain cases and maintains a hotline for reporting various transportation misdeeds. It's oig.dot.gov/ you call it? I call it /, but / hotline. So it's O as in Oscar, I as in in, G as in good, .dot.gov / or / hotline.
Yeah. Advice to anybody out there. This is really true advice. Right now, the way the economy is, I don't care what company you go with, find yourself a company that has freight. Mm-hmm. Either contracted freight or maybe they produce their own freight. Some companies are like furniture haulers. They may be hauling furniture because it's what they made. Mm-hmm. The Shaw industry up there in Georgia, they produce carpets. They also have drivers. That's just an example. Tyson obviously has their own freight. I'm just giving you guys some advice because right now, I was actually talking to a driver the other day. It was so funny. And we were just talking, right? And he's telling me how a company offered him at this point in time, we are in April. I like to date certain things, because if this podcast is heard, 5 years from now, obviously the pay will sound weird to them, but it's April of 2023. So this guy was offered 56 or 57 cents a mile. And he told the recruiter, he said, "Oh, I don't get out of bed for that." Right. And he was telling me this. And I said to him, "Okay, what do you get out of bed for?" He goes, "Well, I'm getting 85 cents now." I said, "Well, okay, you're getting 85 cents a mile." Obviously, he was working for a Chicago company. Mm-hmm. We were just talking about. But he's sitting. And so let's say you run, honestly, 1,000, 1,500 miles for the week, you're going to make about maybe $1,000 to $1,500, about $800 to, maybe $1,300, $1,400. And that's if you run. And he told me he's been sitting 2 and 3, 4 days at a time trying to get freight. Well, that 56 cents a mile, the company that offered him this, they have their own freight. They produce their own freight. And he said, "Well, I don't want to run 3,000 miles at 56 cents a mile." Well, to be honest with you, the money equals about it equals about $80,000 a year. Mm-hmm. With this company, plus they give them benefits.
Because they have their own freight.
And listen, benefits, and the company has beautiful new tractors. Very nice rigs too. Mm-hmm. And so I told him, I said, "Dude, if it was me, I wouldn't even hesitate. I'm taking miles means money." The guy that tells me I want to work smarter, not harder, you're not in a time. You guys are not in a time where you can do that. My advice is go with somebody that can keep you moving, and you can get a steady paycheck every week without coming up with some of those $300 paychecks. Mm-hmm. On these 1099 jobs right now, they're very sketchy, very dangerous. So I would just be careful, drivers, of who I go with. Ruthann, I got nothing else to say about the Chicago companies. I really don't. Moving on. Let's take a break. Hey, drivers, are you sick of watching the other drivers bypass the weigh station while you are held up going through yourself? Well, download Drivewyze today at www.drivewyze.com. That's DRIVEWYZE.com, and start bypassing the scales yourself. If you're a small carrier, an owner-operator, or even a big fleet looking for something better, check out Drivewyze today. And remember, there's no equipment, no transponders needed when you're using Drivewyze. Check them out for a free download at www.drivewyze.com. If you're a driver looking for a new trucking job, check out NCI. NCI offers the following: new Kenworth T680s, competitive wages, solo, team, and students welcome, plus a full benefit package for you and your family. Check them out today at 888-311-7076. That's 888-7076. And tell them TalkCDL sent you. Are you a trucking company that is needing to hire Class A CDL drivers? Then you've come to the right place. With over 25 years of recruiting truckers, Diesel Jockeys can have qualified drivers scheduled for your next orientation. They work with carriers that need solos, teams, and student drivers looking for local, regional, OTR, company, and lease purchase positions anywhere in the United States. Check them out today at www.dieseljockeys.com. That's www.dieseljockeys.com. All right, we are back with... Well, how about we just go ahead and cut to... Actually, I got a little article I want to read.
Okay.
I was going to say, give me the word of the day, but there's something that was kind of a funny little article. Philadelphia, right, which we're from Pennsylvania, We were 90 miles north of Philly, which was too close for me. but we were from that area. But 90 miles south of where we were from, in the little town of Philadelphia. Little town. Town of brotherly love. They 2 million dimes were on. And when I say that 2 million dimes, okay, worth $200,000 was in the back of a tractor trailer that was robbed and stolen. Originally, they said it was $100,000 worth of dimes, but they changed it to $200,000. So police have updated their estimate on a theft of hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of dimes stolen from a parked truck in northeast Philadelphia. Who in their right mind is going to park a tractor trailer loaded with money in Philadelphia? You know that I guarantee you, all you have to do is arrest that driver that put that truck there. I don't care. I'm telling you right now, I will guarantee you, because we've talked about this before. Okay, if you're a trucker that ever gets a stolen truck, you're probably not going to get many companies to hire you because everybody thinks you're in on it. I'm going to tell you that right now, especially if there's something very valuable on your truck, and then all of a sudden it comes up missing and stolen. Here's what it's originally. No, it was here's the worst part. Was no marks on the truck. You know what I mean? Like it didn't say U.S. Mint, or you know what I mean? It didn't have any. It was just a plain looking tractor trailer, and somebody knew enough because it says, I think 15 skids, 15 pallets of dimes, each pallet worth $50,000. They said they got like 10,000 pounds in dimes. These guys were prepared. If you stole 10,000 pounds of something, you were prepared to steal dimes.
Something weighted somehow.
Don't you agree that somebody knew that there was dimes in that? And I guess they busted a couple bags and there was dimes everywhere all over the ground. According to the police, the truck had $750,000 in dimes in on 15 pallets, $50,000 per pallet. Thieves got into 5 pallets and haphazardly removed the coins, spilling the coins around the truck and a lot as they removed them from bags. What do you think of that? Do you believe that the crooks just went, "Oh, look, hey John, check this one out over here. There's a whole load of dimes in here. Wink, wink. We didn't know that there would be dimes in this one." Or do you think maybe, the driver or somebody went, "Hey, I'll be coming into town on Saturday and I'm going to have a whole load of dimes and I'm going to leave the trailer in this blank parking lot. Wink, wink."
I'm still figuring out, were they wanting to wrap those dimes and try and cash them in? Don't they realize that they all are accounted for with their serial numbers?
They're not accounted for. You smoking dope or what?
No, you don't think that?
No.
Yeah, they know the okay.
On a dime? Ruth Ann, no. You know what? Our little Ruth Ann is not well today.
I think there's going to be some kind of accounting of it. But either way, when you go and start paying for your groceries in dimes, yeah.
I'm so glad you're on the show.
I'm glad I'm the entertainment for everybody right now with my dumbness. I didn't realize. I thought they had some kind of numbers on them or some kind of serial numbers to make sure.
No, maybe dollars.
I mean, I know dollars do.
They get marked, yeah. I mean, honestly, maybe something going to the mint. I mean, I don't know if the papers were, but there's no way that they're going to mark. How many dimes was it? Like 200,000 dimes or, oh no, he said 1 million dimes.
Either way, somebody's going to be, it's going to get around that someone's got a lot of dimes in their pocket. I mean, you're walking around and you've got this big bulge there because you're going to go and I'm going to go to the liquor store and I'm going to be buying me some whiskey, or I'm going to get some smokes, or I'm going to go and get some groceries, or we're going to get some Big Macs. How much is, $6 for a Big Mac? I'm counting out my dimes. Just saying. Think about it. They're going to be giving themselves away.
Yeah, no, it is what it is. But no, and again, I'm not I guess I shouldn't say I know the driver's in on it, but I would guarantee you there's a good chance that I will guarantee you he's being questioned. Whoever parked that truck there, I 100% guarantee you that he is the number one suspect right now.
I definitely guarantee it. That's a cool truck, by the way.
I know that. I guarantee it. You know how I know? Because every trucking company that I've ever talked to, right, when they had stolen trailers or truck and trailer, yeah, and a lot of times, Ruth Ann, the driver, wink, wink, accidentally leaves the key in the truck.
Oh, gosh.
You know, exactly. So, well, obviously they just broke into this one and snagged the money. But hey, bottom line is, guys, do not park your truck in an unlit area that's unsecured. And I don't care what anybody offers you. Okay, I don't care what anybody offers you.
Do you think that, like, when you have highly expensive freight like that, like just something that's like, like cigarettes or alcohol, you've heard where people are, following them, to make sure that they're delivered properly, no issues, that kind of stuff. You would think, like, with something like this, they would have the same issue where people were keeping an eye on that trailer. You would think that with some of these high-end stuff that they would have cameras inside the trailers that have like a feed being sent to I can't think of what the name of it.
I agree with that. I'm sure they do have something.
I mean, what's it going to cost them? It sure as heck would make their insurance a lot cheaper.
Well, these guys can get in and out when they're thieves. Here's the other thing. It's like, okay, so now you've got $200,000 worth of dimes. You have 1 million dimes. Obviously, people are going to be watching for a large amount of dimes to be cashed in.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
But what normally happens is, it's called fencing or laundering. Mm-hmm. What'll happen is they'll take the $1 million or the $200,000 worth of dimes, the 1 million dimes, and they'll take it to somebody that's willing to pay them cash, and they'll pay them. Again, I don't know what the going rate is, but maybe 50 cents on the dollar, for example, right? So you take $200,000 worth of dimes and someone gives you $100,000 worth of cash, and now the people that know how to take those dimes and exchange them are going to now go ahead and make $100,000 themselves, and maybe even less. If you're the thief, a lot of times those guys get screwed over by the people fencing. They may come back and only get 50 cents on, or not 50 cents, but maybe 10 cents on the dollar, and there would be
a dime on the dime.
They get a dime on the dollar. But no, seriously, that is my podcast for the week. And we just want to thank everybody. Honestly, Ruth Ann, we haven't done this in a while. I want to thank everybody, especially everybody that came up to us at the show. People literally came there and said, we came just to see you guys. Honestly, Julie, I want to thank everybody that tunes into the show every week and listens to us and makes comments and sends us emails and letters and everything. I wanted to say thank you from the bottom of our hearts. I mean that sincerely. We literally, do this show every week. We've been doing it for 7 years now, and we've never, I think we missed maybe 1 week when we were on a vacation one time. We had like one. I mean, literally, if you go back through all our episodes, and you can find every one of them, we've got over 700 episodes on iTunes, and literally, you can find, it's actually called Apple Podcast now, and Google Play and Spotify and all that. Over 700 episodes, and you can find every single one of them. What do you need?
The tablet. I think you got my shout outs on it.
Oh, here. I'm done with it anyways.
No.
Oh, this tablet.
Yeah.
No, this one was against the wall there.
Yeah, I think that's my shout-outs.
You have a couple shout-outs from the show.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but anyways, just saying thank you to everybody. We truly appreciate it. And again, if anybody, a lot of people want to get on the show. We don't let a lot of people on the show. unless, we'd rather have a trucker come on the show, Ruth Ann, and tell us a really cool story or something like that. Advertisers that are only in trucking we let advertise on the show and be interviewed. Not that we're too good for it. We're just trying to keep TalkCDL Trucking Podcast strictly with trucking and nothing else. I know a lot of podcasts that are out there, they I don't know if they run out of content or what, but they end up going and talking about other things, which is cool. I mean, if that's what your thing is, if that's your niche, but everything we talk about is related to trucking somehow. And Ruth Ann, I'm done. So do you have the shout outs? Do you have a couple shout outs?
I do. I have a few.
Give us like 5 and we'll say hi to everybody and we'll move on to the word of the day.
Okay. So I have Justin from What the Truck.
What the Truck? Hey, what's up?
Waylon Sullivan was one of the son of the one driver that you had interviewed for Low syndrome.
Oh yeah, that's a really
that was he had signed up for a shout out there for checking out Low's syndrome and little Waylon.
Okay.
Of course, the Kentucky State Troopers with their truck raffle that they had going on for the kids camp.
And Sergeant Morris is going to be coming on the show quite a bit, so shout out to those guys.
Okay, and then we have a wannabe trucker, Chris Ivy. We have Equipline Auction Group. They buy trucks.
Chris Ivy. And who buys the trucks?
Equipline Auction Group.
Equipline. All right. Mm-hmm. Shout out to you guys.
And then we have Justin Owen, our buddy there from Werner. He sent us a picture also, I believe, on some trucks that he had done with some...
And he's with Warner Enterprise?
Mm-hmm.
Justin Owen? Mm-hmm. Shout out to Justin Owen from Warner Enterprise.
Yeah, well, he's our buddy. He came to see us.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. Oh, he was the driver. That's you're talking. I was trying to figure out, okay, Justin. Okay, yeah, he was pretty cool. He came to see us. Yeah, sweet. Shout out to Justin, man. Give us a call. Stay in touch.
All right. So you ready for the word of the day?
I am ready for the word of the day. Let me jack your mic. Go for it.
Verisimilar.
Verisimilar?
Verisimilar.
Verisimilar.
Yeah. See, I was pronouncing it wrong in my head when I first looked at it. I'm like saying very similar because that's how, to me, it was spelled. VerisI or Similr.
Okay, what does it mean, Ruth Ann?
It means appearing to be true or real, probably likely, or faithful to its own rules, internally consistent. So, an example is the bartender told us a far-fetched story, but with enough confirmable details to make it seem very similar.
Nice. That's cute. When you said that, how you pronounced it, very similar, mm-hmm. Right? It reminded me of a town here in Florida that everybody mispronounces when you first see it, and mm-hmm. that is Kissimmee. Kissimmee, Florida, especially the little kids and everybody, when they see it, they say
Kissimmee.
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 Kissimmee, Florida. In fact, I was talking to a trucking company the other day, and the guy's like in his mid-60s, and he mentioned they were going to be in Kissimmee. I'm like, that's how you say that. I go, no, it's Kissimmee.
Kissimmee.
I said, it's Kissimmee.
There's a couple of, it's really weird. Florida is I don't think a lot of people realize Florida had a lot of Indians when they were coming up with the names of a lot of these towns.
Yeah.
So just even around us is some really strange names.
Yeah. So anyways, Ruth Ann, is there anything else you got? Because I'm ready to get out of here.
No.
All right. We're out of here.
Peace.
Peace. Praise the Lord.